Hello, welcome back follically challenged man appreciators to the Game and Muscle YouTube channel, where in this video we're going to be talking about dog boxes, and more precisely, what is a dog box? I didn't know until about a couple of days ago what a dog box was, and I was rudely awoken to the world of dog boxes through the amazing 90s Tic Tac BMW in Race Room Racing Experience. Because you'll find if you turn all assists off and go full H-pattern delight mode with the Tic Tac BMW, that it doesn't take long, should you drive it like a normal H-pattern car, before you are effectively driving a metallic bucket full of drawing pins down a hillside. And that's because a dog box is a type of transmission that requires different transmission driving to a synchromesh transition, which is the more typical transition that you find in your bog standard road car and many other vehicles for that matter. Now, what's the difference between a dog box and a synchromesh? Well, the main difference is, in terms of practicality of driving, is that when it comes to upshifting with a dog box, you don't have to push down the clutch. You just have to slam that gear in. Well, you have to take your foot off the accelerator and then slam that gear in as hard as possible and as quick as possible, which is why it's actually beneficial for race driving, because you can just slam that gear in without a worry in the world. In fact, if you actually were to hold down the clutch and gradually put the gear in like a sensible normal car driver, you're actually going to be causing damage to the vehicle. So you really don't want to be doing that. Now, when it comes to downshifts, you don't have to use the clutch. You can actually either use the clutch or the throttle pedal to either blip the throttle and then put it into gear, or you can tap the clutch a tiny bit and then use that to throw the car down into the gear that you want. Now, I have read up on this in terms of how dog gears tend to work in reality, and then sort of contrast that with how it works in Race Room Racing Experience, and I think Sector 3 have done some sort of compromise Race Room Racing Experience where you do have to come off the throttle and you do have to be a bit more lax with the timing, whereas in reality I get the impression from what I've read in that you can really snap it in immediately, and obviously the gear won't actually go in until it can go in, and so there's a haptic feedback there and making it happen more snappy and more instantaneous. If you watch onboard videos, for example, of 90s DTM or just cars that use dog boxes, you know, you can see it really is snapping in quickly, whereas in Race Room I think it sort of encourages you to be a little bit slower and a little bit more methodical about it to not actually cause any gearbox damage in the game. So as always, what might happen to be best in reality for lap time and durability is probably slightly different if you were just going for outright pace in the simulator, where it tends to come down to working out what the game specifically wants and exploiting that. Now, you may also be wondering, what's the actual physical difference between a dog box transmission and a synchromesh transition? Well, I'm not going to tell you in this video because it would be rather long-winded and I wouldn't be able to cover it, as well as certain websites that have a nice breakdown with tons of pictures and good explanations, such as superstreetonline.com, which I'll link to in the video description if you want to go full-on train spotter and really delve into the land of dog boxes and gearbox excitement. Some people are aroused by that. You know, it's chunky, metallic and rather sensual, so I don't blame you. But back to sim racing and back to Sector 3's Race Room Racing Experience and these 90s DTM cars. My God, are they fun to drive. And when you combine it with the H-pattern shifter and the knowledge of the dog box, it's just on another level. Because I started off driving these vehicles. We've got a server on there, Game and Muscle server, that we stream on, and I started driving them and I was using the old flappy paddles, which it's just dirty. It's not right driving these cars with the old flappies. I mean, they still feel nice to handle, you know, the car's actually dynamics are the same, but it's just not the same process. When you drive these cars with a H pattern and, you know, you combine it, I don't want to keep going on about direct drive works, but you combine it with a good force feedback steering wheel, these are amazing vehicles. And I've had some absolutely fantastic races, and in this video here you see that we're just driving against the AI, and you know, I think the AI are a little bit overly aggressive in Race Room, to put it mildly, but it kind of fits in with the theme of 90s DTM. You know, if you don't have a car in your door and you don't walk out of the race with 2 broken legs and a dislocated neck, then really have you been racing 90s DTM cars? I don't think so. So coincidentally, it makes it somewhat authentic. But just driving with the AI, obviously it's not as fun as driving against real people on the Game of Muscle DTM server that we've got up. But even then, it's so much fun. Just trying to be smooth with these cars, because what these vehicles really capture is the fact that they've got way too much power relative to the amount of grip that the rears have, but they allow you to get absolutely ridiculous slip angles that you can still recover the car from. So you've got this like huge margin of error and this encouragement with the power relative to grip to completely drive sideways, but on the other side of it, when you actually start getting a feel for these vehicles, you start to actually get things going with a nice bit of finesse and being really calm and getting your throttle application really smoothly. You'll probably be able to see it on the pedal camera then, the actual green throttle bar there, how when we're taking corners fast, we're actually doing things nicely and not Tokyo drifting corners. We're being really careful with the throttle administration, and also the steering and how you have to be super smooth with the steering and not get too much steering angle on with the throttle, and then sort of calculating how much throttle you're applying with the steering angle. You know, just getting it all there, listening to the force feedback of the car through the steering wheel to also avoid getting the back end out. And the force feedback is absolutely superb with these cars. It's just fantastic. And then once you feel like you've kind of mastered the throttle input and the steering input, and you're kind of smooth, you have the joy of the suspension on these vehicles, where it's effectively like being a small child on a bouncy castle trying to stay stable whilst a busload of American tourists jump up and down. It's amazing, just the combination of everything. There's no way to fully master it. You always feel like you can improve it, and you always kind of know what you're doing wrong and what you need to be doing to get better. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I may indeed have a little bit of a problem when it comes to 90 DTM vehicles, because it's not just in Race Room. I love them in Assetto Corsa, I love them in Project Cars too, but you know, just fantastic cars. And to finish it off, actually, what could make it even better but a minty fresh Tic Tac livery? It just keeps on getting better with these vehicles. But I'm sure you didn't come here for the 90 DTM Appreciation Society summary of the car, so I'll stop there. All in all, hopefully we all know a bit more about dog boxes, and that's been my educational lesson for the week, and hopefully yours as well for the day at least. We, of course, will be doing more 90s DTM on our streams, which happen most evenings, generally round about 7 PM. We're a little bit haphazard, we don't have the best of stream schedules at this point in time. But when it comes to race room racing experience, when we drive the DTM cars in that, we use effectively the starter pack which comes with the Mercedes. You could get the BMW separately, which has the Tic Tac livery if you really want that, but the Mercedes is actually easier to drive than the BMW. So we use the starter pack. We've got some of the American tracks which you can get in the American track pack, and I think there's 2 other tracks. I will find out exactly what content we're using, but the way we've got the server set up in the game is that it's like £12, £15 or something worth of content, and the server's got a good rotation of tracks, and it's also got a bunch of different vehicles, so we can keep the same tracks, and we might not just drive the DTM, we might drive some of the other cars from the starter pack at some point in the future. So ultimately, if you want to be notified of when we go live for our streams and join in with us and experience the arousing joy of DTM cars, click that subscribe button, and also there's a little alarm bell. I don't know why you have to do this bloody process, but there's a bell as well you click. Either way, if you click the subscribe button, you'll get notified. We also post alerts on Twitter, so if you follow us on Twitter, you'll get spammed on there as well. This is like multi-angle spamming, and that's it really. So click the like button, do that. Remember, we've also got Amazon affiliate links if you want to support the channel and you're buying rubbish for Christmas. Maybe you're buying stuff you don't need, and maybe you're buying stuff for other people that they don't need. Just click our Amazon affiliate link before you buy it. It makes absolutely no difference to you apart from those 2 calories required on clicking the button, and I get money. So why wouldn't you do that? You're enabling a British guy to spend even more time in a sim rig. And you may have noticed that we're actually extending the commentary of this video as long as possible to get to the end of the final lap. Now, I tried to be subtle about it, but it's really hard to be subtle and extend the time by a good sort of 2 minutes. And I'm sure many people would argue, why not just end the video? But then I'll get the comments of people going, oh, why didn't you show the end of the race? You can't win. You just can't win. I don't know. I should just delete this before uploading it. But there we go. Final few corners. Upside, inside, dive bomb. I don't know what an upside move is. We're just making words up as we go here. I just made the whole dog box thing up as well. I don't know how long it'll be before people notice that. But last few corners, absolutely amazing. We got from last place 34 cars on this grid. That's a nice thing with racing as well. You can put 250,000 vehicles in the game. I think you can have 60 cars on Nordschleife. So we've got up to 4. We got halfway up. The next challenge will be to try and actually get first. We got the AI on adaptive, which is nice because you don't have to fiddle, but they're a little bit easier, as you may have noticed. Probably about 90s. 90% is probably better for most people. But there you go, unbelievable 14th place. Don't forget to subscribe. Yes, I said it twice. Like and leave a comment. Until the next one, Dogbox.